Hey everybody, welcome back to Feedback Loop. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Joey.
He was taking a drink.
I
I caught him
was.
off guard.
No, it's fine.
Uh, we're talking about an album this week, which is new because normally we talk about albums. Wait,
That's
that's
the
not how that
same
goes.
thing, Jeremy.
That's the same thing. We're talking about the Civil Wars, the band, their self-titled album from 2013.
Oh shit,
Man,
dude.
another 2013 album.
I might have to
There's so many of them.
I might have to rewrite all my notes. I misunderstood. You said we were doing the Civil Wars. Oh man, I got all this like Battle of Gettysburg notes.
Yeah, we were doing a history episode. No, the Civil Wars is a band, and they released a couple albums. I don't know how many specifically because I don't have Wikipedia up. But we're talking about their self-titled one, came out in 2013. I really love this album. I picked it because it feels like a wintry album, and like I mentioned last week, I think I had listened to the album while I was listening to the Panic broadcast during that week. I'd listened to this as well, and I was just like, man, it feels good. I really enjoy this. It was on our list, and I'm curious to see if Joey also likes it. I fucking love this album. Every time I come back to it, I'm kind of reminded how much I like this album. But now that I've built it up entirely too much, we'll talk about the album art here. It's black and white. It's like a photograph kind of thing, black and white. You can see the background is like the sky, I guess. It's pretty white, so you can't tell. I think it's cloudy. It looks pretty cloudy.
Yeah.
But there's this big like column of black smoke rising up from the bottom and covering most of the album cover. And then in a nice cursive font, it just says the Civil Wars. It's very, very simple.
I've
I'm not.
noticed the black on white kind of motif is something that they do a lot in like their album arts.
Yeah.
Which it looks very nice, very crisp. It looks very high quality.
Yeah, it's very clean. It's very, very simple. And it's strangely eye catching, I think, amongst if you were like at a record store,
Yeah.
right? Because there's a lot of most album art has color. I mean, I guess back in like the 70s, there was a lot of black and white stuff, but I feel like a lot of album art is trying to draw you in by being vivid and bright and having something interesting on it. Whereas this is relatively simple, and I think that makes it stand out in kind of a weird way.
Yeah, I mean, shit, just look at the Panic broadcast album artwork that was all like
Yeah,
dragons and a throne.
yeah. But enough stalling, Joey. What did you think about the one that got away?
Oh, shit. I thought there was going to be, we're just right into it. Okay.
We're just right into it. I didn't even segue. Track number one, the one that got away.
Okay.
I want to know how you feel about this album and this song.
Okay. I'm going to start off with my impressions of this song
Okay,
instead of my impressions of the album.
that's fine. We can talk about the album at the end, or we'll figure it out as we go.
So, the first time I listened to this song, I was kind of like, this is not at all what I was expecting. Like,
Right.
I had looked them up and it said something about like Americana and folk type influences, but this song
Mm-hmm.
sounded very country to me.
Yes.
Like it sounded like country. It didn't sound like inspired, like country inspired by this or this inspired by country. It just sounded like country music to me. So I was just like, what the hell? What's happening?
Yeah. So also to back up just a second, I know over the course of this past week, I think you texted me or something after we recorded last week when I told you what album we were doing. You said that you thought Alyssa listened to this band, and then at some point throughout the week, you texted me or you told me that you were mistaken and that she was thinking of the Cold War Kids,
Yep.
or that you were thinking of the Cold War Kids, which I'm assuming is nothing like this.
Nope. No, not.
And so there's that also that extra layer of you being so confused and out of place, I think, when starting this.
Yeah, I was just like, the first time I listened to it, I was just like, what? And I'm going to let you know, country is
Yeah.
probably my least favorite genre of music.
Oh, I'm right there with you.
Okay. But this song, while it wasn't like I didn't immediately like love it or anything, I
Mhm.
do like it more than most other country that I've heard, and it was mainly due to I didn't look up her name, but the girl singer's
Joy Williams.
Joy Williams. It was a lot of it was due to her voice.
Yeah.
Like I like her voice a lot. I like the guy's voice.
Yeah. John, I think it's John Paul White.
John Paul White. Yeah, I like his voice too. but I like her voice a lot. And
Yeah, she has like a very like delicate voice, and it suits the music in a very like haunting way
yeah,
because they use a lot of reverb and they give her vocals a lot of space, and it just I don't know, I think it suits the music very well. She has a very pretty voice, which
yeah,
again we've talked about in the past how you have a history of not really being into female vocalists.
hmm,
So I'm happy that you called out her voice specifically. The track's got also that the country vibe that you mentioned. It's got like some mandolin. It's got a cool like mellow electric guitar kind of a thing. There's some harmony, and I don't know. It's very rocky and bluesy, but definitely very country.
and it's another thing that it actually this whole album did it, but this song it was one of the first things that I noticed. I don't I think it was two like episodes ago or whatever. I was talking about how I really like bands that play with silence. I talked
Mm-hmm.
about it on like the Deaf Heaven, and
Yeah.
then the I think like maybe the next episode, I guess. This song, there's and this album, there's so many parts on this album that just straight up are like it feels like there's just nothing there.
Yeah.
So it's like you get
It's like smoke.
yeah, you get locked in this kind of the silence almost becomes part of the beat, and it's like
Right.
the whole song turns into like a percussive type thing just due to the sound silence dynamic.
Yeah. There's a rhythm and a flow to it, and they kind of use it a lot. I think in a lot of songs
Mhm.
that there's this kind of gradual build that leads to that silence that you're speaking of, or the lack of music, or just this kind of reset on the momentum of the song, which I think is really cool. I enjoy it every time it happens in this album.
Yeah, it was. I'm trying my hardest to be positive because there was a lot that I liked, but there was also like in the back of my mind, it was like country though. But
Yeah, no, I mean, I set this up. We were talking last week about me shitting on albums. I was shitting on your boy's vocals from Soilwork,
I can't believe it.
and we set it up in such a way that like you'd be shitting on me this week. So it's fine. I'm expecting a little bit of hatred, and I'm okay with it because fuck you. You know,
I do overall like it, but I have to add the caveat. I like it, but it's a country
for
album.
country
Yeah,
music, yeah.
yeah,
I can dig it. Lyrically, the song is kind of about wishing a relationship ended when it was good.
yeah,
I mean, it's the one that got away. Normally, it's kind of a wistful thing, like, oh man, like I miss that person because we had something that was so good, and it something happened and she got away, kind of a thing. But it's kind of the opposite in this, where they have stayed in a relationship and it seems like it's kind of falling apart and they're gaining resentment towards each other, and they're like, man, I wish this ended back when we started, back when it was a good thing, and instead of it leading to whatever it's turned into now.
yeah. And I will definitely say one reason I don't typically like country music is because of the song. I guess song, whatever the
The
songs are about.
lyrical content.
Yeah, I very much like their lyrical content for the most part, at least. Uh,
Yeah.
I like kind of the thought of this because this is something that I have felt in the past where it's like, oh man, I've spent too much time with you. And it's just,
I just don't like you.
yeah, I don't like you anymore. I kind of like this whole thing has kind of just devolved into a terrible portion of my life when it could have just
Yeah.
been like, what could have been?
Right. But I mean, I don't know if it's actually better that way, because like the one that got away is such this elusive like goal, this unrealistic expectation. You're going to compare everyone else to that person,
Yeah,
right?
that is true.
So no one's ever going to like live up to that person, even though in reality that person had their flaws and stuff. It's just there's this idealization that comes with it. This
Yeah.
I don't know why I went there. System of a Down reference. My brain. Every time I hear the word idealization, that's what I think of. And yeah, I don't know.
Which you should because it's a good song. So,
It is. And in an ideal world, I would have me a girl that listens to System of a Down,
well,
specifically IAO.
I have that and I can tell you it's cool. Like, yeah, I guess.
You currently have you a girl?
Yep.
like that?
That listens to System of a Down, and it is my daughter.
Well, oh, it's your daughter. That's awesome. Well, if she ever leaves you, although she wouldn't because she's your daughter, but I guess at some point
Yeah.
she will leave you.
If I do
Uh,
everything correctly, that is the end goal.
then you can talk about how you had you a
Yeah.
girl,
Yeah.
which is also
The
track
second
number two.
track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called "I Had Me a Girl," but we're changing the tense,
Yeah.
the
I guess I
perspective.
probably shouldn't start tangents off of your pun, like your.
The transitions,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fine. The segues, it doesn't matter. We bring it back. It's
Yeah.
fine. This one has like a really reverby guitar like intro kind of thing,
Hmm.
and the song comes in with this like I can't describe it other than saying like this jailhouse rhythm. Like I can just see prisoners breaking rocks to this kind of a beat. It gives me that kind of like "Oh brother, where art thou" kind of feel to it.
Oh my god.
Um,
Okay, I don't feel so bad about my analysis of the beginning of this song now, because it sounds to me like those HBO show intros or whatever, where they would do like the slide guitar and it's
yeah,
set
yeah,
in like the West or something. And I didn't mean that in a bad way at all, because I love slide guitar. And it was
yeah.
just like, that's the
It's
vibe
very,
I
it's
got.
very, yeah, it's 100% that vibe for sure. The male lead John comes in early on this one. The guitar, I really like the tone of his guitar, and I really like his playing of it. Again, Joy's vocals and melodies in this song remind me a lot of Haley Williams,
Ooh,
which there's no relationship. Even they both have the same last name, Williams. Uh, Fun fact: Joy Williams actually featured on a bonus track of Paramore, so we can get into that at some point.
ooh.
But I think that's actually how I found out about the Civil Wars. But yeah, I don't know. There's this little bluesy musical bridge in this track before John does a cappella stuff with guitar tapping, which I know that you've mentioned that you're a fan of.
Yeah.
And then Joy does the same thing right after, which is kind of a cool dynamic.
Yeah, I very much like their instrumentation. Like, I like his guitar tone. I love mandolins. I love like slide guitar. I like acoustic guitar a whole lot. I'm almost at the point in my life where I like finger style or like well played acoustic guitar like that more than any other kind of instrument. I guess it's just cool to me. It's what I currently aspire to play whenever I play guitar.
Would you want to be on Waterfront Wednesdays doing fingerstyle guitar?
Yes, but not
Okay,
but not in the Civil Wars.
right, yeah, the time period or the band.
Yeah, yeah, definitely not the time period. I don't want to. I don't know. I feel like I would not last in that time period.
Hopefully, we don't have to find out.
Yeah, but where was I going? I was going somewhere with that.
Sorry, you're talking about how you just love the fingerstyle guitar, and that's the kind of passion that you would ideally, I almost said idealized, that you ideally would pursue, I guess, if you were to
Yeah,
do that.
that's where I was. Okay, yeah, and so as I was saying that, I was like, why don't I like country? And
That I was thinking that I was going to ask you that. I actually wrote it down on our on my notepad because I'm taking notes now for ideas for our spin-off show, which is conversations for another episode,
yeah,
kind of a thing.
uh,
So maybe we can loop back to that.
okay, yeah, because I love bluegrass, I love folk, and but it's just like, I don't know, I don't know.
Neither do I. Lyrically, the song it's another relationship song. A lot of these songs are about relationships.
Hmm.
We've talked about it all the fucking time about how so much music is about relationships. But this one, it has John describing a naive boy learning to be a man from a woman that has such a hold on him he can't even describe it. The whole like chorus of the song, it like builds up to them saying that she could, and he can't like put it to words,
Yeah,
right? Uh, and then Joy describes the woman as being a sinful creature. So there's kind of like this dichotomy of an innocent young holy boy being shown the world by this sinful woman, and they have sex apparently, and
yeah,
I mean that's the impression that I get from it.
and it is just so good that she can do no wrong in his eyes. Because like the first or the third verse, he describes her like cigarette smoke.
Yeah,
She came and she went, and then Joey comes in. I slip through his hands to my backdoor man under his chin. So she's like cheating on him, but
Yeah.
he comes back with, "Oh, that woman taught me to pray, but for all her wandering ways, she could." Ah, ha, ha.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, well, she's it's very much like, yeah, like you described, the naive young boy who is looking up to this more experienced woman, and he's just
Hmm.
kind of like enamored by her to the point where she can almost do no wrong in his eyes.
Yeah, which is not a great way to get into a relationship,
Yeah,
but
it
it happens, I guess.
sounds like a real power dynamic.
Yeah, well, it's the same old, same old.
Yeah, yeah. Shit, man.
I'm knocking
Damn.
them out quick.
Well,
Track
track
number
number
three.
3. Same old, same
Tell
old.
tell me about it, Joey.
Well, it's definitely not the same old, because I'd say I like this song more than I like the previous, like the first 2 songs. I
Interesting.
liked this one a little bit more, and I think it's because I got more of, I don't know, kind of like a folkier vibe to it. Maybe
Yeah.
it's got like that chunky acoustic
Hmm.
cordage to start with, playing with the silence, and it kind of just builds, but it's still very, like, I guess, delicate at times. Like, I really like Joy's voice on this song
Yeah.
because she can restrain it. It gets like airy and kind of wavering, but then it comes in
Right.
really strong whenever it fits the song, and I don't know. It's good.
Yeah. The song really like epitomizes that whole flow that we were talking about earlier, where it's there's this soft and slow kind of wavy motion of it, and then it builds and builds into this powerful chorus, and then it pretty much comes to a stop and reboots the
Hmm.
song before ramping up again in the last chorus, kind of a thing. And like you said, Joy's voice is a really big focus in this song specifically, where she, like you said, is very soft when she needs to, but also she can belt it out when she needs to.
Hmm.
And I think it just speaks to her ability as a singer.
Definitely. And I don't know. There's definitely some tracks on the album. I feel like they mix the vocals just like way higher than the instruments.
Yeah,
Like, and this is one of them, which, not like that's a good thing. Her voice is definitely the focus of this song, but it's
right.
just something that I paid attention to mixing more on this album than I have in
Hmm.
other albums, I guess.
Yeah, and even with they do a lot of duet stuff. Like the Civil Wars is two people.
Hmm.
They both sing. There's a lot of duet and harmonizing and stuff. And even on the parts where they're both singing, a lot of times it'll have one of them turned way down to
Hmm.
where they're just like the essence of them is there in the background to kind of fill in some sound. And then other times when it's swapped and the other person's barely audible. And then there are times where they're both very very prominently audible.
Yeah,
So I don't know if it was. I'm assuming it was creative choices on their part,
yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I like every instance of it happening.
yeah. I mean, I would imagine with because it's a very well produced album. Like, it seemed
Hmm.
they took care to make sure that all the sounds were there. Could only imagine that it would be a choice to do that. But
Yeah.
this one, like, lyric wise, it's it's another like kind of topic that I like to go into, because there's so many breakup songs. There's so many. You see a lot of I guess this sentiment given on the internet, on like forums, on I see it all the time because I spend most of my time on Reddit, and
Yeah.
it's about being in a long-term relationship, and you've hit a point where it kind of just sucks,
Yeah.
and like things are going bad. I guess I shouldn't say it sucks, but things are going bad. They're not at all like they used to be. It's just going downhill, and you see a lot of people. Uh, they'll be like, "Oh, just get out, man. Get out.
Yeah.
Leave that guy. Leave that girl. It's bad," or whatever. But this song is about like putting in the work and continuing it. Which, I mean, I'm not saying that's like you just stay in shitty relationships, but it's good to hear that it does take work, because if you want to be in a monogamous relationship with that's just you and another person as a team, like, it's gonna take work.
Right.
It's not gonna just magically be great forever. So I don't know. Just hearing that in a song, it's kind of different than a lot of the stuff that I usually listen to, where it's just like, oh, a breakup song or like
Right.
unrequited love or something.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that. I think that was pretty spot on what I got. Where you like the only caveat is I think there's this kind of, I guess, in a similar way to the last track, where there's this thought of like, man, it used to be good,
Yeah,
it used to be so great, and wanting that kind of that fresh rush of like a young love kind of a thing, where you're just wishing that you had that kind of that honeymoon period again, kind of a thing. But that's not where you are, and it again, the song, she or he, they're choosing to stick it out and say, you know what, like, it's not ever going to be that good again, and that's fine. We need to figure out where to go from here, kind of a
yeah.
thing.
You need to figure out how to make whatever current stage you're in the best it can be, because
Yeah,
every stage can be great just in different ways, type thing.
yeah. It's time to maybe move on to a more mature love and relationship, other than the young lust and excitement.
Yeah. So I was gonna try to do something because you just said lust, and I was like, that rhymes with dust.
Hey, it still does rhyme with dust. So lust to lust and dust to dust.
Boom. Track number four, not four.
Four, Joey,
I
come on.
can't count, man.
Every time. This one has a drum machine
Yeah,
in it, kind of keeping the beat, which I thought was an interesting choice for, especially for like a country or a folksy kind of album.
and especially because I don't think they do it again. It's just this song. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
I think it's also just this song, or
But
I also think it's just the song. I said that weird.
no, it's fine. We're not grammar loop. We're music feed
Loop.
shit.
But yeah, it's got the drum machine. It's very like snappy sounding. There's just simple acoustic guitar for the most part. More haunting, lovely vocals from Joy.
hmm
I really like the chord progression with the riff that he's building. There's the piano chords that come in at the beginning of each phrasing, and then even there's some soft strings that kind of fill in the background that feels nice. And it kind of gives me this kind of churchy vibe.
Yeah.
I don't really know why. By the way, I really fucking love this song. This is my favorite song on the album, I
Oh
think.
shit.
And I think the reason why is that there's this screaming feedback whine that comes in the background
hmm
before the chorus, and it's such a specifically like incredible sound that I enjoy, and it feels like it's going to build to something in like a big rock section or something, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just kind of there for ambient effect. And I realized, and this is kind of mind blowing to me, while I was writing my notes, it reminds me of this recurring dream I had
Oh
when I was a
fuck.
kid, like really young kid, and I can't really verbalize a lot of what's happening in the dream, but I have very specific memory of this dream, and it's like I've never been able to again verbalize it. But my mom and my dad are in the dream, and I think they were fighting or yelling at each other, but they weren't saying words. They're just specific sound effects or sound samples or clips or just sounds that were representing their emotion. And I don't know what that dream, what else was happening in that dream. I don't
hmm
know what to interpret from that. But that whining feedback sound that is used in this song, I don't know how they got it, but that specific sound is exactly the sound that I was having in those recurring dreams when I was a kid. And I was just like, I've never been able to figure out what that sound is or how to describe it, but that is exactly what it is, and it kind of blew my mind.
That is fucking awesome. Oh my god. That makes me like this song so much more. I I'll give you a heads up. This is my second favorite song on the album, and
Okay,
my
meaning that you do have a favorite song.
I do have a favorite song. Yes.
Okay, okay, we'll play the guessing game.
uh, I like this song just because of how kind of, like you said, it feels like it's going to build up to something, and then it doesn't, and it kind of just stays. It stays just kind of low. Not, I don't want to say low energy, but it's just very
Right.
soft, very low key, and I don't, it's just something I've noticed about myself. Whenever stuff just kind of is soft, I just tend to just like it for some reason. I don't know if it's because
I mean, it might be because we both have a background in metal and things being hard and extreme,
yeah,
so it's kind of refreshing in a way to hear things that aren't always just extreme.
yeah, I guess, yeah, yeah, because the other end of the spectrum is like super noisy stuff, wall of sound, shoegaze type thing going on.
Right.
So, but yeah,
Which we talk about in our episode. If you haven't listened to it, Sunbather by Deaf Haven, check out the album and that episode of the podcast.
woo! But so lyrically, after that mind blowing experience that I definitely want to talk about, because that the whole phenomenon of like thoughts that you can't express because they are just so tied to emotion is something that I
Right,
feel on such a personal level. I'm sure, like, that's, I don't know, that's, I don't know, it's just super cool to me.
right.
Like, it's super cool to think about. But yeah, this song that we're talking about, that we're supposed to be just discussing, is Dust to Dust. Seems to reference the dust that comes like after having a heartbreak or being hurt in the past. Like, you're broken and it's
Right.
dust, and then you build these walls up around yourself to kind of keep out any more future pain. And this song is about somebody else wanting to get in there, being like, I know you've been hurt, I know you have these walls, let's break down the walls, break them down to dust,
Hmm.
so the dust that they were is now returned to dust. But
Yeah, and it kind of comes out towards the end of the song that there's kind of some sympathy going on or some empathy where like because I think the whole most of the song is John Paul White singing about like how or I guess I mean it's a duet,
mhm,
but it seems to be the male character is the one that has been heartbroken and has built up all these walls or whatever, and then Joy comes in and is the one that's trying to get in. Um, but it comes out towards the end of the song. I think it might be the last verse or something, where it seems that the girl in the story has also had a very similar experience. So she's trying to get in, but she's coming from a place of understanding,
yeah,
where like yeah, like I've been there. I know what you're going through. I know how you feel, and it's okay to not feel that now, kind of a thing.
yeah, it's always nice to have a, I feel like that's the key, coming from a place of experience. You
Right.
can you can kind of get in there and be like, hey, let's do this together.
All is together.
Oh my god, that song haunts me. It comes back, and like every time I hear the word together, and I'm like, why? I never
I don't
watched High
know.
School Musical.
I mean, it could have been on in another room when you were eavesdropping and heard it playing.
Yeah,
I've also never seen that movie for what it's worth.
yeah. I used to eavesdrop whenever other people were watching the Disney Channel all the time.
Happened so frequently that a song was written and titled after that.
Yep, because that's track number 5 on this album is
You got
Eavesdrop.
you got the numbering right. We're back on track.
Dude, I wrote the numbers in my notes, and I'm just like haphazardly looking over to be like, oh yeah, check, check, check. And then I look over and I'm like, oh yeah, this is track number 17, whatever.
There's not even 17 tracks. But yeah, eavesdrop. This strangely, I don't want to say strangely. This I have the least amount of notes for this track. I don't really like this track,
Oh shit.
um, which is I guess it sounds harsher than it is. I like the album overall. But
Hmm.
this track just kind of falls flat to me. It's kind of it to me. This one sounds more of that kind of poppy country kind of feel
Yeah.
to it. It's got kind of an upbeat sounding music. There are some really cool string swells in it that I like, and then for the last chorus, it comes in and it's kind of rocky or a bit more aggressive. But overall, the song feels kind of generic to me.
Yeah, my really only notes were that I liked the outro more than I liked the rest of the song. I liked the
Yes.
way that it rebuilt just maybe in the last 45 seconds or so.
Yeah.
But it's just,
The song's about being in a relationship and knowing that it's probably going to end soon and not really wanting to accept it. It seems like there's this it seems strange to have a feeling of like, yeah, it's going to end, but also we both don't want it to end. But
yeah.
it's definitely a thing that happens, and it's something that I think a lot of people can actually relate to. Just kind of knowing that it's not a great match and that it's not going to work out despite loving each other.
Yeah, because whenever you have to let go of something you love, it's sometimes it can just be harder than the devil's backbone. You know.
Fucking killed it. Track number 6, Devil's Backbone.
Woo!
Is this your favorite track on the album?
It is not, but I do like this song.
Damn it.
I like the
Okay.
stompiness of the
Yeah.
beat. It's just because like I used to listen to a lot of like Mumford and Sons and stuff, and they
Hmm.
very much have that stompy like
Right. It's very westerny, like you kind of mentioned on the other one,
yeah
where it kind of feels like it's like a western intro kind of a thing.
yeah. But yeah, it's super cool. It's got a very sinister feel, which I mean goes along with the lyrics, but I do like that about it. It is one of my more liked tracks, I would say, on the album. But
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's got a lot of layers. I really like again her vocals, but they use a harmonium or like a pump organ kind of a thing
that's what that is.
to give it that. Yeah, it's almost bagpipe-ish and almost accordion-ish, but
Yeah.
I googled it. It's called a harmonium
Okay.
or a pump organ that they use, and her vocals over it are just like fantastic. I absolutely love it. John comes in quietly in the second repetition of the chorus with his guitar, and I don't know. There's a lot of layers and this kind of that dynamic building and silence play that we keep talking about through the thing. There's an acapella duet section as the outro, and I fucking love it when songs end on those kind of notes where it's just vocals,
Yeah.
especially when they're harmonizing.
Yeah, and especially whenever it's I mean, I guess especially for me, whenever it's subject matter like this song has where it's I don't know, it's there's something about like Jesus-y religion like
Yeah,
type stuff, which this song is.
yeah,
It's like this song kind of is formatted kind of like a prayer almost, but there's something that is kind of eerie to me, and I think I kind of touched on it. Like whenever religion is brought into songs,
right.
sometimes it kind of like instantly gives me a weird. I think I said a bad taste, and in most cases it is, and not in this one. And it's weird because it's specific to like folk music. If religion is brought in, it's kind of like spooky or something.
Yeah,
I don't know, and I just like it. But whenever it's like that, it's just kind of haunting, I
yeah, and
guess.
there's definitely a religious thing, which I thought was also interesting because last week I think we mentioned, like you said, that you talked about how religion being used in music that is explicitly religious in
Yeah,
context instead of just like, yeah, if the singer's religious, whatever, but if the song is literally involving religion,
yeah,
then it kind of, like you said, gives that bad taste, which I thought was kind of an interesting follow up. It was not planned. I mean,
yeah.
we picked this album before we had that discussion, but I thought that was kind of a fun little quirk or coincidence
that's
with this thing.
it's probably just from my background. I I have some.
No, yeah, and I definitely want to get into that a bit more. Maybe on another episode, but definitely on another album. I think that I have on our list at
Yeah,
some point. We'll kind of get into that. I think. But yeah, like I said, it's a song about Joy's character, the female character, praying to God that her fugitive boyfriend doesn't get taken away from her because he's on the run from the law and she loves him and whatever. It's kind of cinematic in concept,
yeah,
but there's not a lot to talk about there lyrically.
yeah. It's I don't know, man. Like that dude, he's about to be hanged, and he just had to get the hell away from this valley, you know.
I was wondering where you were going with it. I knew you were trying to tie it in. I was like, okay, he's setting up a story.
It
That's
kind
fine.
it kind of worked.
Yeah, he got taken from this valley, or he needed to be. I don't know. He got from this valley. Strike number 7.
There we go.
This one immediately has a more like bright old country kind of
Yeah,
bluegrassy feel to it, but unlike Eavesdrop, I really like this one. The bass is very like super simple and clean, and it feels good. The song feels like a gospel hymn to me,
yeah,
where it has I don't know if I think it's the melody, but it reminds me of "Will the Circle Be Unbroken,"
hmm
and I think their vocal melodies kind of imitate that a little bit. And her Joy's voice in this one reminds me a lot of Alison Krauss,
oh yeah,
which is a bluegrass singer and country singer that I really enjoy, and I
definitely.
believe Joey does too. But
Yeah,
there's more acapella sections in this one, and the harmony's great, and I really like the way that their vocals kind of mix and then build right back into the song with some pretty powerful vocals from Joy on this one as well.
yeah, definitely. And I kind of feel like a hypocrite, honestly, going into this song. having
Yeah,
talked about religion, because this song once again is,
pretty religious.
I'd say, the most religious track on this album, and I
Yes,
very much like it. It's not my favorite song on the album or anything, but
right.
yeah, I really do like it. I really like you said, kind of the a cappella sections, the sections where it's just mainly singing, and because I also like gospel music. What the fuck?
Right.
I'm an
I was
enigma.
thinking about that too.
I'm an
We
enigma.
can unpack that sometime, I think,
Uh,
in a whole episode
oh
just dedicated to the mind of Joey.
yeah, that everybody's gonna love tuning into that.
I'm sure they will.
Uh,
I'll tune in.
there you
Okay,
go. There you go.
that's all that matters.
But
We'll have one viewer.
yeah, this is I'd like, I don't know. This is more in my wheelhouse, I guess, of like songs in this vein that I would listen to outside of the pod, like being recommended to me. Like, this is a
Right.
song. Like, if I found this song, I would. If I had found Civil Wars through this song, I would have definitely checked out the rest of their stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's religious in the sense that it's just. I mean, she's communing with Jesus, with God, and she
Yeah.
wants to be taken from this valley up to the mountaintop. She's wanting to be accepted in a religious way from the valley, which is earth, down below to the mountaintop of heaven, up in the glory of God.
Right.
Which, I mean, like, I don't know, man. It just, like, it's so weird to be saying the words of the glory of God is like bringing back all these, like,
Yeah.
these visions in my head of, like,
Yeah, I totally feel that.
and I'm just like,
And
what the
I
fuck?
was looking at the the Genius for this one, and someone actually drew a parallel that I thought was kind of interesting. Where I mean, like you said, it's take me from this valley and bring me to a mountaintop up high. But in the Bible or in certain religious interpretations or whatever, Zion or Jerusalem was on a is on a plateau,
Hmm.
and it's kind of this holy place, right? So there's maybe a parallel being drawn to where the valley isn't necessarily earth, but it's symbolizing the valley of death,
Yeah.
which is also another biblical thing, and being taken from this low point in their life and bringing them to this glorious place, the glory of God, maybe Jerusalem, maybe heaven, whatever. But just going from a low point, like the darkest lows, to the brightest highs, kind of a thing,
Yeah.
which is it's kind of a generic concept that can I guess you can plaster a lot of different context onto.
But there's definitely a for sure context here. And it's,
Yes, and you can tell Mama about it.
you can. This song is track 8, right?
Yep, you had to look.
I
I
had
could
to
I
look.
could hear the hesitation.
You could hear my eyes move from one screen to
Yeah.
the other screen.
Yep.
Wouldn't that be some shit if you could hear eyes move? I'm sure you can if you have a good.
That would be obnoxious, probably. But well, I don't know. Maybe people would tune it out eventually.
Yeah.
You'd be used to it.
But this song is the song I was talking to you before we started recording, that a certain song on this album almost completely changed at the last minute
Yeah.
my album choice for next week. And it's because this song, I was listening to it and I'm like, wait a second. I
Sounds
know
familiar.
I know this song. I know the lyrics at least. And
Right.
but kind of, because they were different than the last time I heard it. I fucking love Clarence Carter.
Oh, see, I haven't actually heard of them until doing my notes for this album. I was like, oh, this is a cover of a Clarence Carter song that was popularized by Etta James.
Yeah.
But yeah, written by Clarence Carter. The dude has 40 albums.
Yeah, dude, he's been around since, I think, This Is Clarence Carter. His first album came
Yeah, it
out
was
in
like 68.
68, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think that's what I saw on Wikipedia. But yeah, the dude's fucking been around. He's a blues and soul guy that I've never heard of or never listened to.
oh man, he's awesome. He's super cool. And he wrote this song with other people.
Yeah,
It looks like Marcus Daniel and Wilbur Terrell all wrote it. But whenever they wrote it, it was called Tell Daddy, and that's how I've heard it.
yeah.
But so it's this song, but from a guy's perspective, I guess. So I was like hearing Tell Mom All About It. And I'm like, what? This
Something's familiar.
is supposed to be Tell Daddy.
Yeah,
And also this song, I like it a lot because it does something with covers that I really like, where it's almost a complete reinterpretation of the song. It almost
right.
sounds nothing like the original. It
Yeah,
You can kind of hear it if you really, really, really listen for it, but it's pretty much just a completely new song.
yeah, and I agree. I think that's the best kind of covers do that, and I think they because it shows a certain respect for a music in general, but b the source material and not wanting to just plagiarize, right?
Yeah,
Not trying to sound like someone else, but wanting to pay homage to someone else, perhaps by doing a cover kind
yeah.
of a thing.
I never would have thought that I'd be talking about how much I like a cover of a Clarence Carter song written in a country-ish
Right.
style, where like one of my favorite parts of it is the fact that they have like that steel guitar kind of,
Yeah.
it swells up before the song kind of drops out back
Hmm.
into itself, and it's such a far cry from kind of the funkiness that the original
Right.
has, but it's very nice.
Yeah, it's got a super like simple acoustic guitar intro. Like you said, it's got a lot of ambience from like a steel guitar and a bunch of other instruments kind of in the chorus. The bass comes in and it just feels good. The song's like I don't know. I was led to believe by my boopity boop research that the original was more like upbeat and funky and stuff,
Yeah.
and this song, their interpretation of it just feels so crushing,
Hmm.
and it's just kind of like this kind of sad, not really sad, but just like I don't know, it just kind of like makes me feel like I'm being crushed in darkness, kind of a thing, and I enjoy it. I don't know what they did to get that sound, but I think it's fantastic.
See, and this is probably me reading way too far into it, but I also noticed that, and it's kind of because other stuff that Clarence Carter did, it was very much in the I don't want to say like male driven 60s,
Hmm.
but I mean, yeah, I guess I shouldn't not want to say that because it's like true. But it very much has the vibe of like, oh yeah, that guy over there, like he's not shit, he's not treating you right, come over here and I'll treat you right
Yeah.
type thing. And from like the typical guy perspective, that's kind of the way you would take it, is like that confidence, that bravado, that like I can treat you better than that guy.
Right.
But whenever a girl sings it, it's a complete flip, and I feel like it highlights that very well. I don't know if it's trying to, but I feel like it highlights that very well, where it's like whenever a girl just says that, I mean, sure, it's accompanied by the crushing music, but I feel like whenever a girl says that, you it's very much the opposite, where it's like she doesn't have the confidence to have gotten the guy in the first place, I guess is how you view it, where she's like, oh well, I could treat you a lot better, but you chose her, so I'm
Right.
just gonna be in the sideline. I'm just one, you'll eventually just, maybe you can like tell me about it and I'll try to comfort you, but I probably won't even get the love that I'm wanting out of it. I'll just be the comforting person. And
Yeah, and I think that speaks about our societal norms, right? Where the men are seen as making the moves,
yeah.
and the women are there to just kind of like going with the
Yeah,
flow,
they
kind of a
just kind of
thing.
passively
But
have things
also,
happen to them.
yeah, but also I think this song kind of speaks to women being more empathetic
Hmm.
in that way. And whereas when a guy's like, hey baby, come over here, I'll treat you better, it's not about like, oh, I'm sorry that you broke up with this guy, or I'm sorry that that guy's treating you differently. It's about what do I get out of it.
Yeah,
Whereas a woman is more just like, no, I'll help you. Like I see that you're going through shit. I know that things aren't like going well with you and him. Like talk to me about it. I'm here to listen,
yeah.
kind of a thing.
I'll actually help you, not
Right.
not in the way that Clarence Carter is
I'm
talking.
not trying to get anything out of this. I
Yeah,
just want to help you, kind of
yeah.
a thing.
Which that
Oh,
is
Henry.
one of the reasons. Oh shit!
Sorry, continue. No, I was preemptive on my segue.
That's one of the reasons I didn't choose the Clarence Carter album, is because that is most of that the album that I was going to pick is
Right.
very much that feel, and I was like, like I don't feel like just taught like
You don't want to come off as an asshole.
yeah, like I don't. I kind of swung and missed with the Two Man Gentleman Band thing, and it's kind of made me look at music different since then. And I was like,
I mean, it's okay to enjoy music for what
yeah.
it
It's,
is.
I mean, it's super
Like,
funky, good music, but like to really do a deep dive into it and review, I think there's 11 songs on that album, maybe 12. It's like 12 songs of that. It's kind of like,
right. Yeah. maybe not a good conversation for a show, but maybe we can just use that whole time to talk about how shitty of a person you were or are.
Yeah, or how shitty of a person Henry is.
Oh, Henry.
There.
Brought it back. Track number 9 is called "Oh Henry." It's another one of those kind of like good bluegrassy rocky kind of feeling tracks. I like the guitar tone in this one. There's just like little snippets of strings that are kind of teased throughout that I really enjoy. And man, the fucking slide guitar, the
Yeah,
slides on the song just feels so good. Even if that slide guitar is buried underneath a lot of the other stuff, like you talked about the mixing, like I feel like that slide guitar could have been turned up a bit more. But yeah, I don't know. It feels good. The bass comes in and it really like grounds the song and it gives it such a good feeling. And then the bridge in this one, just completely different feel
yeah,
from the rest of the song, and it brings down the mood while also creating some sort of like anxious energy a little bit with the strings before resetting the song like they do on the final chorus here.
yeah, and yeah, for the mixing, I feel like the mixing in the first chorus specifically with the kind of crunchy electric guitar in the background, it's
Yeah,
kind of weird just because it's like it's almost there, but it's almost not there. But I feel like they fix it on the later choruses.
right.
But I feel like I've heard this song before, honestly.
Hmm.
But I probably haven't. I don't know, but I do like this song. I I like the message of it, which is kind of like I don't know. It's pretty intense, really.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny song about a guy that got married to a woman who's threatening to kill him if he's been cheating,
Yep.
because she's talking about like hearing rumors or people have been saying that he's been cheating on her or whatever. And I really like at one point she says, "Boy, if you're smart, you know you'll know you'll only have my heart till death do us part. Oh, you and I both know that at the end of that forbidden road, there's a 6 foot hole."
Yep.
Where she's pretty much saying like, "Look, it's till death do us part, and if it ends in death, I'm not the one dying."
Yep.
It's kind of a thing.
Yeah. The last lines are, "Oh Henry, I know you wouldn't hurt me, and you should know that we don't need one more grave in this town." Are
Right.
where it's like, I know you're not gonna hurt me, but but I'll fucking kill you, dude.
Yeah, you better not fucking mess around. You best come correct. Which is, I don't know, it's fun.
Yeah.
It happened. I feel like that's not a specifically new concept. I know, like, fucking, what is it? Carrie Underwood's
Before he cheats.
"Before He Cheats." Cares
Yeah,
is that the same song? I don't
I
know.
think so.
Whichever one she talked about, like just torching a dude's car or whatever because he was cheating. Kind of, yeah. I guess that is "Before He Cheats."
Took a Louisville slugger to both headlights.
Yeah, that one. So again, not a super novel concept, but it's
Yeah,
fun
it is. It's
and I
very,
like it.
it's very fun because I don't know. It's just like I don't want to bring it back
Maybe
to.
we're assholes by thinking it's funny because it's a woman taking power over a relationship,
Well, see,
and it's such a novel thing
I was about to
in our
say
brains.
kind of the opposite. Uh, like the opposite point of view, where if it was like, I don't know. Whenever I hear like if this song was written from a guy's perspective,
Oh yeah, they'd get hell.
yeah, well, because like I wouldn't think it was funny
Right.
because I'd be like, oh like if the guy was like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking kill you if you cheat on me, I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, that's
That kind of implies that the man is not in the right state of mind.
exactly. And I don't know what that says. That's a discussion for another episode. I don't know because
Writing it down.
boom. Oh god.
You got to keep talking while I'm writing things down, Joey.
Bob,
Otherwise, this isn't going to
Bob,
work.
but yep. Oh, Henry, I know you wouldn't. Oh shit, dude. I'm just saying. I'm reading things literally off of my screen right now.
That's
I
fine.
don't know how to just talk.
Just take a break. We're gonna put the weapons down. We're gonna disarm you,
Oh, okay. And
and
maybe
we're gonna move on to track number 10,
disarm.
which is "Disarm." Yeah, it's a Smashing Pumpkins cover,
Yeah, it is. It's I.
which out of left field, I think.
Yeah, for real. Like this song started, and I started writing notes. Like I didn't even pay
Yeah,
attention
you
to.
don't realize it.
Yeah, like I know that, and honestly, disarm is like maybe it's not my favorite Smashing Pumpkin songs, but it's definitely up there.
Oh yeah,
And I was listening to it, and I was just like, oh yeah, a song called Disarm. That's cool. It's nice
Hmm.
and soft, and oh, there might be a little bit of heart behind the guitar. I can't be sure. Oh shit, this is Smashing Pumpkins. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's another one of those covers, like on Tell Mama or Tell Daddy. It's like it's a very good cover in the sense that it totally changes the feel of the song. But the caveat here, I think it kind of misses out on some of the raw pain and
Yes.
aggression of the original. So I don't prefer this to the original, but I do think it's a good cover because of how different it sounds.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. Like, I like that they adopted it into their style. I just feel like Smashing Pumpkins did it so well that it's like I would rather listen to that one. But it is a nice addition to the album, like this
Yeah,
album. But yeah, I like the energy. Every time they said the killer in me is the killer in you, I was like, I want to feel it. I want to feel it.
yeah.
But
They definitely like they did it well, but again, there's just like I don't know. There's something about the original that's just so like raw,
yeah.
and I don't know. The original song is about Billy Corgan, the singer from Smashing Pumpkins, his abusive upbringing, where
Hmm.
he's talking about being assaulted as a kid, and that abuse kind of stuck with him, and it weighed on him, and led to a lot of the anger and rage that he spews in a lot of the Smashing Pumpkins song.
Hmm.
I'm not sure in the context of the album if they're kind of going for the same thing, but I felt trying to kind of translate it to this album, I felt that it's possibly about just trauma in general of being in a bad relationship and trying to move on. Like they broke up, he found a new girl, she's having trouble trying to understand him. So he's tempted to just leave her so that she feels kind of how he felt, specifically from the second verse where they sing, disarm you with a smile and leave you like they left me here to
Yeah.
wither in denial the bitterness of one who's left alone. So it just kind of like seems where there's not great communication or there's not great understanding between the two people, and he's just like instead of trying to explain that, he's just getting tired and it's like, no, like I'm just gonna leave you and you're gonna feel what I'm feeling, and then
Yeah.
maybe we can come back together and discuss it. But
Yeah. This song, like, the line that really stood out to me as not having the same impact was in the original song. Whenever he says, "What's a boy to do?" You picture an actual child scared,
right.
being like abused, who's going through just absolute hell and has nobody, no adult to look to for safety. And then whenever they say, "What's a boy to do?" supposed to do in this song, you see maybe the innocent young man from shit, I can't remember the name of the song. The earlier song, "I Had Me a Girl." Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
who's in that relationship with the more experienced woman who's maybe cheating on him or something. And I pictured
Right.
that innocent young man as opposed to an actual child who's being hurt, and it
I
just
like
doesn't
that interpretation better than mine.
it doesn't yeah, it just doesn't carry the same weight, I guess.
No, for sure. Again, go listen to that song by the Smashing Pumpkins if you haven't,
Yeah,
but also listen to this cover because it's a pretty good musical cover in my opinion.
in my opinion too.
I don't have a way to try to segue to the next one,
Sacre
but
bleu.
Sacre Bleu, Sacred Heart is track number 11, and I'm guessing that this is your favorite track on the album.
No.
Well, there's only one left.
Yep.
I was so sad. I was like, nah, he's not going to go that way. I thought that initially that you would swing with track 12, but
I'm surprised.
took a risk.
I'm surprised you didn't get it, man.
Well, okay, so this song is sung in French,
Yeah.
right? And I don't know. I feel like I've maybe mentioned this before. I've probably mentioned it to you, if not on this podcast. That I enjoy songs that are in foreign languages because I don't have to focus on the lyrics,
Yeah.
and I don't have to think about it as much, and I just kind of enjoy the melodies and the harmonies and a lot of the textures that are going on.
Hmm.
It's a very soft and lovely acoustic song. I think Joy probably pitched this song to be in French because it feels kind of like her, and her voice handles it very well, and she's clearly fluent
Yeah.
in her pronunciation and stuff. There's some strings that are very sweet and lovely that are kind of always sweet and lovely as strings are wont to do. I really like the plucky bridge in this one that kind of
Yeah.
moves to a quiet place before the last chorus swells with the pianos coming in. It's just I don't know. It's a very lovely song.
It is a very lovely song, and I'm glad they did it in French because if we're going for foreign languages, French is by far my favorite foreign
Interesting,
language to have music be in. I just like French music, I guess.
dude. Like specifically, I think we're both kind of on the same page here. Specifically, French like electronic music is just
Yes.
10 out of 10.
Oh my god, it's just so good.
Something's in the water over there in the
Yeah.
electronic France.
I also took French for 6 years, so
Oh, did you?
I'm kind of just it's in my wheelhouse more so than
Are you fluent?
I not anymore. I used to be.
Interesting.
Not, I guess I shouldn't say fluent in the sense that you could just drop me in France and I'd
Right.
be like, yeah, this.
Were you able to pick out what was being said in the song without looking at the lyrics?
Yes.
Interesting.
In some
Cool.
cases, not all. Like
Word for word.
yeah,
Right.
but I could get the general feel of the song.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah,
I did not know that about you, so that's cool. I
it
guess I
was
should figure because that was back when you were in your Catholic school, right?
yes, and French was mandatory.
Yeah, I feel like I knew that at some point, but forgotten
Yeah,
and revitalized. But yeah, it's a song. She's talking about walking down the streets in France, and it seemed to me like she was inviting her maybe former lover to meet her there, and slowly kind of realizing that they're not coming.
yeah,
At one point, the translated lyrics, she says, "You may be falling behind. You may have missed your train. You may not be able to forgive me. Shadows grow and the crowds fade." So it seems like maybe she fucked up. Maybe she did something that she regrets doing, and she was trying to like set up this meeting to like make peace with it. And it seems like the guy's not ready to do that yet.
yeah. Whether or not, yeah, she kind of plays it like, oh, maybe you missed your train.
Right.
Maybe you're falling behind, or you may not be able to forgive me. And I don't know. I know that feeling of like, did I fuck up too much this time? Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe it's just this. Oh, but no, maybe it's just because I was kind of shitty.
Yeah. Which it's not a good feeling.
It's not at all. But
I've been there for sure.
it's something you gotta deal with. I was gonna try to
I could tell the wheels were spinning. The gerbil gave up. Track number 12 is
Darlene.
Darlene, but it's not like Darlene. It's Darlene,
Yeah, like a French Darlene type
which
thing.
is weird. I don't know. I don't know if they did that to play off the French thing. The song's actually like an acoustic demo kind of a thing.
Yeah,
I looked into a little bit of the history. I didn't write it down, but this was all done. There's only one recording of this, only one performance of this song that they did, and they just kind of they recorded it on an iPhone on a summer day with the windows open and the doors open, and you can hear like traffic and you can hear birds and outdoorsy noises because they're just kind of like they're chilling. They're having a songwriting session at one of their houses and just enjoying the weather, and they wrote a nice little song.
and it's fucking awesome. Like
It's pretty good.
it's the hipster in me. I think that's why it's like my
The
favorite song.
hipster in you is the hipster in me.
No, it's fine because it's yeah. I'll straight up own it, man. Like I liked the lo-fi kind of deal with it before I had even
Yeah,
read anything about it, and I was just like, ooh, I like this. This is what I listen to a lot of, like music that's not as highly produced, not as whatever. And then I
right.
was like, ooh, this song was inspired by a note that Richard Feynman wrote his late
Hmm.
wife, and
Which is a great story in itself.
yeah, and just reading uh, an excerpt from it where it was read after his death, where it said, "Please excuse my not mailing this, but I don't know your new address," in a letter to his
Right.
late wife, where it's just like, I don't know, you can just tell like he loved her, and it's just
It's
nice.
wholesome.
It
Yeah.
is. It's just like straight up. It's bittersweet, I guess. I don't want to just keep saying it's nice, but it's there.
Well, it is. It
Yeah,
was a nice gesture. I mean, he was obviously like
very in love.
he was very in love, and I don't want to say that he made peace with it necessarily,
Yeah,
but I mean, he took the time after she died to write her a letter, which is a very romantic thing to do in general, even when they're both alive. But
yeah,
like she's dead, he writes her a letter and he keeps it on him. He keeps it sealed. Nobody knows what it says. Nobody even knows it exists, presumably, until he dies and they find it and they read it. It's a great story.
yeah,
I think in general, it's very very wholesome.
definitely. And yeah, it was just it just got me. Like I don't know.
It punches you in the feels.
Yeah, I don't know. Just like whenever they're quietly saying you'll always be the only one, even when you're not. Like
Right.
I don't know, saying like I don't because I don't know. Like I hate to think about like people like what happens if somebody you love significant like your significant other dies early.
Yeah.
Like do you move on? Do you not move on? Like the thought of
Yeah.
like that's a huge question. I
That
mean,
that is that is 100% a discussion for another
yeah,
episode.
it's just like yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I have somewhat of personal experience
yeah,
with that, with
definitely.
witnessing it, because my mom died when I was young, and my dad is remarried, and I feel like that happens a lot, but probably better for a whole episode by
Yeah.
itself.
But yeah, the song it just got me in a way that it just made it so it had to be my favorite song.
That makes sense. And again, like it fits the mo. You like a lot of that lo-fi kind of raw stuff, and this definitely captures that.
Yeah.
Lyrically, it's pretty much mirroring the story in a lot of ways of Feynman's letter, where it's written kind of like a letter to the guy's presumably dead wife, like Feynman's. He can't really. He it seems like he can't get over her and move on with his life. She's the only one for him. Can't tell because he can't tell her that because he doesn't know where she is,
Yeah.
and or because she's dead, kind of a thing. So there's kind of that question of if she's actually alive and she just left him and he can't move on, or if it's like literally like Feynman's letter where she's actually dead, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So what do you think overall? I mean, I guess at this point we know generally how you feel about it. Not a fan of country, but
I do
you think
like the album.
it's okay for the album,
Yeah.
for country music anyway.
It's and it I don't know. I feel bad saying it just because
No, don't. I shit on your albums all the time. I've done it to at least 2 or 3 albums.
I don't know why I have such an issue with being negative towards music, but it's like I always just
It's because I keep painting you in this way that like, nah, Joey's gonna like it even if I don't think he will because that's the kind of guy Joey is.
but
Maybe I'm wrong.
it really is like my note I write down so many albums that I want to listen to. There's so many times where I listen to like 8 or 9 albums in a day whenever I'm like working. And almost all of I think I've only written anything negative about one of them. Almost all of them, if I don't like it on the first time, it's always give it another try. I
Yeah,
didn't like the voice, but give it another try because maybe I'll like it or I'll find some merit to it or something. I just like the creative
yeah, and
expression of music. I want to love it, I guess.
yeah, I think there's value in that though, in that like I don't know, a lot of albums, a lot of artists take time, or you have to be in the right place or at the right time. I mean, the whole like concept of having a gateway album
Hmm.
or a gateway experience kind of a deal. Like Deftones, for example, was a
Yeah,
band that I didn't really like for a very long time, and then at some point in my life, I was reintroduced to them in a very specific like set of circumstances and time, and it just felt right, and it clicked, and I got it, and I feel like that's the case with every album, every band that like everyone has the potential to like anything. It
yes,
just has to be introduced to them in the right way.
that yeah, that is probably one of the most true sentiments I'd say. Just
But
yeah,
I think it's okay to hate an album.
yeah.
Like I think it's okay to not like an album and be okay with expressing that. Just like obviously because I shit on fucking Hella, so whatever. Maybe at some point I'll like it, but until then I don't mind shitting on it.
maybe
Fuck that album.
maybe I'll be like 80 years old at some point and I'll like technology will have improved so I'll just get a random head ping and like
Yeah.
Jeremy's face will just enter my mind to be like I get it now.
It all makes sense. Don't hold your breath. Don't get your hopes up, or
I,
maybe Alyssa's gonna have to write a letter for you after you die.
if I held my breath until I was 80 I wouldn't be 80.
Well, that's very fair, but I just meant don't hold your breath until I like that album because you might not be
80.
around much longer. Yeah, well, that's
uh,
next week.
Next
What
week
are what are we listening to, Joey?
we're listening to a little album called All That We Know and it's by Larry and His Flask.
And that's all we know.
Yeah, that's all that That's all that we're
That's
gonna know
all
until
that we know.
I mean, until we listen to the album.
Well, you've already listened to the album, so
That
you
is true.
you presumably know more.
Yeah.
but you won't tell.
Did I say all that you know or all that we know? Because I can't remember now. But it's all that we
I don't
know.
know.
It's all that we
I
know.
have it written down, so I wasn't worried about it. I'm not listening to you.
Okay, cool. Just for like the potential person that might
There's
listen to this.
nobody listening to this, Joey.
Yeah, for real. We had like so many like listens and stuff, and then they all just died. Like there were people on SoundCloud in like Belgium
It comes
listening.
in waves.
Yeah. But
It'll
hey,
be fine.
Belgium people, if you come back, it's
Yeah,
all
thanks.
that we know instead of all that you know. But listen
By
to it.
Larry and His Flask.
Yeah.
Is this at all related to this country album that we just did?
Yeah, kind of, but not also.
Okay.
Also,
Okay.
kind of not. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I guess you guys are gonna have to tune in next week and or listen to this album this week to find out.
I mean, it's rockish, but there's also like other stuff with it. So
Rockish. That's my favorite genre. It's rockish. I love the rockish music.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh man! If you guys want to listen to the album, let us know how you feel. Do so. We're all ears. We're all eyes. I guess we're not really all ears because we're. If you want to call us or meet us in person and talk about it, that's fine too. I guess. But tweet us, message us on the Facebooks, drop some comments everywhere, anywhere, not everywhere. I mean, if you want to do it everywhere, that's fine too. But just do it anywhere. We're all over social media and stuff, so you can hit us up there. Let us know what you think of this album. Let us know what you think of Larry and His Flask. Let us know what you think of the first episode we did with Dan Deacon's Gliss Riffer. Wherever you're at, man, just just let us know. Talk to us.
For real.
We're lonely.
Talk to me about Dan Deacon, bros.
We're so lonely. Just give me a conversation.
Literally nobody will talk to me about Dan.
Well, that's all the time we have today, folks. Until next week, stay on.
Bye.